Alright guys, we are going to have a knockdown, drag-out brawl between Multimatic and Maticstaker. Sorry for the drama there, but we're just going to compare these two. If any of you have seen my past video, I did this similar thing between Stable One and Maticstaker. So I'm going to use the exact same topics to judge these, and this is my opinion. This is not financial advice. The winner of this doesn't mean that you should pick one or the other or invest in any of these. This is just information and just kind of how I feel about these. So again, definitely not financial advice. Do your own research, judge your own risk, make your own financial decisions. So yeah, let's get into this. Ease of use. This one's tricky because they're both pretty simple to use. The thing is, Maticstaker has it's not very well defined about locked versus unblocked. There's nowhere it really says on the page what the difference is between these, except for the ROI. But yeah, that's not very user friendly. I dislike the colors. That's personal choice, but it is a designer that blue in the background is just obnoxious. But yeah, I really haven't had any trouble with either of them depositing or Multimatic. I just put in today. I haven't withdrawn on this, but I also had access to the test net. And I did some testing there with withdraw. It worked just fine. But honestly, these guys, they provide a lot of information, and there are 3 options. There's not 6. I do like the icons. They're kind of fun. I'm not a huge fan of the transparency. If I put this over, we can see the packages here. If I put that over, I can't read that anymore. That's somewhat annoying. But yeah, it's pretty simple. They did great with the they're talking about the investments and how long the terms are, and all the calculations. Honestly, with this, I would have to go with Multimatic, just because they limit your options. It's very simple to pick one of 3 instead of 6. Of course, there is an extra button here for snooze, but that's such a great feature that has to be there. So obviously, yeah, ease of use, I'm gonna go with Multimatic just because there's not a bunch of things going on. Interface, I also touched on this as part of my the last topic. I kind of spilled into this one when I talked about the colors and overlapping and things like that. Multimatic, it just seems like they put more effort into it. Yeah, Maticstaker, their logo isn't highly complicated. There's just not a lot of design elements to this thing. So it's I think interface, I'm going with Multimatic. They put more effort into that. Longevity, if you watched my update a few days ago, we talked about this. Let's look at this today. An ROI of 4,000% in 28 days. Yeah, these are projects that are paid from this balance, guys. And I know this has been going up, but imagine in a few weeks when this guy expires and all this money is pouring out of this thing. I think it's gonna be very difficult for this thing to make it to April 5th. I really hope it does, because I've still got skin in the game on this one. But these rates continually going up every day. The problem with that, especially these lock plans, is these are going to start expiring, and people are going to start pulling out 1,000% of what they put in. And even if they put back half in, they're still taking out 500%. And that is not going to be sustainable. It's those as long as they put in, everything they made and took back their original, then it'd be sustainable. But that means nobody's taking profit. So these are going to be huge. I mean, if you get one whale in there that they dumped in at like 4,000%, it's going to drain the balance pretty quick. Multimatic, yes, these numbers are more conservative, but they're auto reinvested, so the returns are still high, but they're not going to spin out of control because they're static. So yeah, I mean, this thing just started today. It's not even 12 hours old, and it's already 105,000. So I think sustainability on Multimatic has it because it's not going to have crazy rates that could drain the balance. Clean code. I've looked over both. Maticstaker has good code. Multimatic really put in a lot of effort to making it much cleaner. Just from a development perspective, they really thought about the user, especially with the snooze button and reducing fees, things like that. The clean code, and honestly, if you look at the audits, Multimatic actually did score higher than Maticstaker with their audits, so I'm gonna go with that. Community, I've always loved the Maticstaker community because it's been so organic, and I'm gonna give a little shout out to a guy named Ted. He was the moderator over there, and he actually has moved over to Multimatic, which is great. And Maticstaker has kind of grown, and the owner kind of went the route of limiting what's going on there. So it's gotten more restricted. The community on Multimatic is actually a bunch of expats from Maticstaker that wanted something more sustainable. And it's very just, organic, and the guys are great there. Nobody's like locking anybody down unless they come on and spam some kind of like B&B farm or something. So I'm gonna go with that. Profits. I don't know, this is tough because I've got some in both of them. Obviously I haven't withdrawn anything from Multimatic, but I have made stuff from Maticstaker. Their ROIs are insanely high right now. But yeah, that's just really concerning for the balance. But I mean, if you totally ignore the balance and everything else, if you're like, hey, I'm gonna get $4,000, your 4,000 Matic back, or 4,000% back, or whatever, then profits are obviously gonna go to Maticstaker. So I have to mark that for them because their rates right now are high. But I mean, if you put into Maticstaker now, and 10 days from now, a bunch of guys, drain the whole account because they were getting, 1,500% a week ago, and they start, unlocking, taking out, then you're not going to get any profits at all, obviously. So just be careful with that. But yes, the profits are higher at Maticstaker. That's good if you can actually withdraw and the balance stays up, but that's bad if that's going to drain the account. But I'll give that one to Maticstaker. So yeah, I mean, if longevity wise, that's what I really look for in ROI dApps, which is hard to find because they're, by definition, they're made to last a short time. There's some that are lower paying. You've got Drip Network and Drip Guard and things like that, and I'll do a review on those soon. But they pay 1 to 3%. These things are paying greater than 7% per day. So you just have to be careful of those things. Anyway, if I were to be going into one of these right now, I would seriously look at Multimatic, and I would be careful with Maticstaker. I've mentioned this on a video before. Do I think it's gonna last 7 days? Yeah, it'll probably last 7 days easy. In that instance, I would put some into this savings, and then less than like 6 days in, you get your return on investment back, and then anything you make after that, you could roll it into one of these higher ones. That would be a good, pretty good strategy. Then at least you knew you got your return on investment. Multimatic, it's got some good rates that are consistent and won't keep shooting up. And then with that, they've got this awesome snooze button, which I think factors into the game as well, because after you invest, you can also snooze it, which will just keep your investment going past its lock period, which is amazing. I mean, you could snooze it forever and just keep holding on to it. So yeah, if I were to jump into one of these right now, I'd probably roll into Multimatic, especially because that snooze feature is so good. Maticstaker has just got a lot of risk right now. Anyway, next one I'll be doing some more on Multimatic, probably how to get started, and as part of that I'll do a risk assessment, in comparison to other platforms. Anyway, please let me know if you have any questions, any comments, and if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one.